daybreak here on Arise News. Time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. Let's take a look at This Day, our sister publication. Its leading story for today: Oshiomhole, Tinubu cannot be held responsible for Buhari's performance. He said that at an interview here on Arise News yesterday. And a writer there says, President's failure on security, economy make APC's presidential candidates unmarketable. That's from the Atiku support group. And just below that photo there, it's captioned, Niger Republic honors 6 Nigerians. If you want to know more about that, pick up a copy of This Day. Above that, federal government approves PPP for Badagry Deep Sea Port to generate $53.6 billion. The writer there, federal government also explains the purchase of 1.45 billion security vehicles for Niger Republic. Above the nameplate of This Day this morning, the CBN urges private sector operators to repatriate FX earning to ease pressure.
The Punch newspaper is leading with rising terror threats. National Assembly leaders threat rally security chiefs for protection. Pay rise, federal government excludes state varsities, ASU kicks. Outrage as Buhari gifts Niger Republic 1.1 billion naira SUVs.
The Nation, the Nation newspapers. PDP Board of Trustees fails to resolve Atiku-Wike rift. Trustees divided over Ayu's sack call by Rivers Governor's men. Free train passenger terrorist moles across Nigeria. Oshiomhole dismisses row over Muslim tickets. And then just above at the top mast there, why Buhari okayed 1.55 billion to buy vehicles for Niger Republic. Russia-Ukraine war, Nigerian varsity to absorb 2,500 students. NBC finds Trust TV 5 million. I think there are about 4 TV stations, including NTA, for documentary on bandits. Lawan, level of insecurity, frightening.
Let's take a look at the leadership this morning. Its front page headline: After PMB's directive, military begins Operation Show Terrorists No Mercy. Above that, the PDP Board of Trustees sets up committee to reconcile Atiku and Wike. Above that, OPEC raises Nigeria's oil quota to 1.830 million barrels per day. Above the nameplate of the leadership this morning, 129 days after, 34 train passengers still in kidnappers' den.
The international papers. This is The Guardian UK. Revealed the far-right web radicalizing UK children. And Taiwan braces for China blockade after US visit of the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
The Daily Express. The Daily Express. Looks like we don't have the Daily Express. All right, the Daily Express there. All right. It says bombshell as experts warn cost of living crisis will get even worse next year. Fears soaring gas bills will push inflation to 15%. And just that picture there, the actress Jane Fonda says, "I'm not proud of having a facelift."
And for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us from our offsite studio this morning. Emmanuel, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at This Day newspaper and its leading headline today. Yesterday, Oshiomhole was here on Arise News, and he was responding to a statement from the Atiku support group saying the president's failure on insecurity and just the economy makes the APC candidate Tinubu unmarketable. But Oshiomhole says you cannot credit Tinubu with Buhari's failure or his achievements. Now, what do you think about that statement? Because really, everyone has been talking about it on social media. Analysts have been analyzing. And everyone says, Tinubu, you brought in President Buhari. You campaigned for him. You made promises on his behalf. And if the camp thinks that President Buhari's administration has not done well, they have never come out to speak against any of his policies or against any of his inactions, have they?
No, good morning, Nkechi. Indy, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Yeah, Nkechi, you know, that is the difficulty and the problems of trying to market, you know, the APC as we run into presidential elections. And already Oshiomhole is inching towards campaign mode already, you know, practicing. And these are going to be the talking point of the APC, PDP, and all the other parties' campaign, because the opposition party will continuously jab at the records of Buhari. You know, at every point they will point out, and it's difficult to see how you'll be able to market that. Marketing it will be very difficult. It's just like the controversy around the Muslim ticket. It refuses. It has not gone away, it has not fizzled. And every time you try to explain it, if you say, no, take out religion out of it. Oshiomhole too tried yesterday and tried to explain that and say, focus on the future, forget religious politics and all of that. The more you say that, you just rile up, you know, the anger of the people who are against it. So those are some of the difficulties APC you know, chieftains are going to face. And already, you know, the Yakubu Dogaras of this world and Babachi say that that is precisely the problem that APC is going to face, especially if they go to Christian-dominated areas. How to make a case. We see footages of the party chairman going to a church yesterday and trying to, you know, it was almost comical if you look at what the socials were saying around that issue. So these are the difficulties. So on one hand, they have the crisis of the Buhari record itself, to defend it or not to defend it. How do you campaign effectively? What are you going to tell Nigerians? And there's really nothing you say now that wouldn't look as if you're actually questioning the legacy of Buhari if you are campaigning for the APC. So that's some of the difficulties that the marketers of these parties are going to face, because again and again people are going to jab at it. People are going to you know, present these records, whether it's in security, whether it's in the economy, whether it's even in the fight against corruption. Expect APC to be on the defense all through. So they might have to be doing a lot of that. And there's really nothing they can say. If you say you are going to do better, it means you are still passing a verdict or some kind of, you know, referendum on the performance of the last administration. And there's a lot of red meat there for the opposition to work with, a lot of material to work with. So the opposition will continue to throw that at, I mean, that's the simple strategy. Of course, Oshiomhole is actually ready to even latch back to those PDP years again. But you see, it's also one of the excuses that Nigerians don't like hearing. Of course, Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information, used it a lot until at a point everyone was tired of those line of argument that we're blaming it on the PDP. Well, you've had 8 years after the PDP. How do you actually bring that kind of excuse? Oshiomhole was trying to use it yesterday. I don't think it's cutting with the public. So that's the difficulty with selling the APC brand to the Nigerian people. Of course, the attempt now Oshiomhole was trying to make is to say that, look, no, Tinubu is different. But in Nkechi, like you said, a lot of people will say, no, you are not different. You are the one that campaigned. You brought in this leader. You say he was going to do a lot. So they will say, own it. It is actually, this is your call to make, and this is your problem. And so Tinubu is going to be faced with that, apart from the many other issues that Tinubu as a person, you know, his faces with, especially with the crisis of his personality and all those other issues around him. So that's the problem with selling a party. They will have to get a very good marketer to be able to sell this brand to the people. Why Nigerians will have to actually vote in APC again.
Emmanuel, still in front of this day, the federal government's approved a PPP for the Badagry deep sea port. It's expecting to generate $53.6 billion. We're looking forward to that. In the meantime, it's been explaining the reason it purchased 1.4 billion naira security vehicles for Niger Republic. Are you satisfied with that explanation?
Well, it's not. It's beyond even satisfaction, Kenny. It's the ridiculousness of it altogether. I mean, it's ridiculous, and a lot of people yesterday expressed their concern and anger. In fact, the paper saying that you have an outcry. It was an outreach out there. A lot of people worried about it. Of course, the minister tried to explain that, look, it's part of our statutory, responsibility with our neighbors, being a good neighbor, whatever that means, But these are not, I don't even know how luxury SUVs like that can really help in security. But whatever it is, it widens that whole accusation. Again, sadly, the president, the fact that his connection with Niger Republic, he talks about his cousins who are there openly. He doesn't hide that. He said, I've got cousins in Niger. And he said it's just like having, if you're Yoruba, for instance, and you have cousins across the border in Benin Republic. So he's saying that that's the same thing that is happening. So, and that it's beyond his making, because these circumstances of his birth, he's got cousins in Nigeria. But people have people have criticized that relationship, whether it is building those rail lines into Niger or what has just happened now, buying those. At the time that we are faced with our own serious crisis, a lot of people are even saying it's treasonable to actually support another country to defend itself. But the minister yesterday was explaining that, look, they have to do that. You have to actually help, to secure our neighbors if you want to secure us. That wasn't cutting with anybody. Certainly, Kenneth, I'm not sure that cut with you, because a lot of people will say, look, we have got problems of our own. It's like in the time of famine, in a company, in a family, to hear that your father or the parents are taking food to other people outside while the children are starving. It's difficult to also explain this thing. And those are some of the crises with, trying to make sense out of a lot of nonsense that is going around. It's almost senseless trying to even explain them. So I think it was an outrage. A lot of people, when it leaked, we thought, in fact, at the point, I thought as at yesterday that the federal government was going to deny it. When they actually said yes, maybe because it was leaked, they started explaining that, look, yes, it is indeed, we are buying SUVs for the Niger Republic. It was an outrage, and it's something, it's just something that doesn't just go down well with anybody.
All right, the Nation newspaper, it says PDP Board of Trustees fails to resolve Atiku Wike rift. Trustees divided over a used sack call by Rivers Governor's men, rather. So what next for the PDP? And Wike, actually?
Well, I don't know. The way the Nation newspaper and the Nation newspaper for obvious reading has been celebrating these rifts, and in his opening paragraph, he said that the problem has deepened. But what the Nation newspaper has been doing is also to actually bring those things to the fore. It's giving it this prominence. It's reporting it. A lot of people would think that, well, the Nation newspaper has more than a passing interest in reporting that rift. But of course, but insiders in this situation say that it's an ongoing thing. It's not as if there's been a collapse of talks or that some kind of agreement were not going to be reached. Some people say that Wike's demands themselves are outrageous and that they are just untenable. But the Nation newspaper, chose to focus on that. But of course, politics is something to be reported anytime, any day. The leaders of the party are saying that it's an ongoing conversation. It's not as if everything is off the table, and that the demands of Wike, principally the fact that Ayu should resign. Abdul Ningi saying yesterday that, look, that was not even discussed. What they've done was to set up committees to have more talks. And if I know how these things work, there's going to be more of those talks. There's going to be more of those negotiations. And at the end of the day, politicians have a way right behind us, we that are reporting it, to find a very fine way to settle some of these things. And then we'll get to report them again. But for the Nation, as far as they're concerned, the Nation newspaper, this problem has deepened. For those who are insiders who are playing around the issues, know that a lot of negotiations are also going on to see whether they can find some form of understanding around the issues being raised.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview.